Intentional living is the act of making our own choices before other choices make us. This is a quotation from Richie Norton. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Roland Adegoke. This is the Oasis of Life and Castle of Wisdom. Today I'm speaking on intentional living. Intentional living. And what is intentional living? Intentional living simply means being deliberate in every decision-making process before we take action on day-to-day living. Being deliberate in our thinking process before we take action in respect of our day-to-day living. It anchors on having a clear future thinking, deliberate action, or possibly proactive action, and being deliberate in decisions we make. It is a decision or set of decisions that must be anchored on our personal beliefs, values, principles, and goals that will help us to realize our set objectives. Deliberate or intentional living simply tells you not to act on impulse, not to do things because others are doing it, not to run after a project because you see other people doing it. And by the quotation I quote earlier by Richie Norton, that intentional living is the act of making our own choices. You make the choices before other choices make us. That we are deliberate, we are intentional, we must have thought through before reaching a conclusion, then act on it. A life that is not well thought out, set of decisions that are not well thought out, will definitely result in actions that will spell due. Now, every aspect of our lives call for decision, one decision or the other. But when we are not intentional about our thinking, about our thoughts, before we reach a conclusion or taking a decision which result in action, of course, in the long run, we begin to blame ourselves. So the essence of today's encouragement is to let you know that every action of yours has its repercussion or implication. And the long-term implication sometimes can be so disastrous and may not end with you, the decision maker. Of course, it may have much more consequences in the thereafter or in many years thereafter. The consequences of those decisions may spread even across to your family members, to your children, and future generation. And that is why we are to be deliberate, we are to be intentional, we are to think through on every decision we want to make. Now, intentional living affects every aspect of our lives, which I will mention few. One, in terms of money management. If we are not intentional with the way we spend, the way we generate first, then the way we spend, or possibly having savings for the future, it may spell due. There are individuals that you call them for a party, they are always available to go. The money they earn per hour or per day can be squandered or wasted per second or per minute just to make impression on people that are actually not looking at your direction. Number two aspect has to do with time management. Like I spoke sometimes ago on time management, that time management simply means life management. An individual whose time is squandered, who never plans his time, who never have a schedule of activities, who doesn't care about how life runs, is bound to live a life without meaning. So time management is also another part in which of our life that we have to be intentional. You don't just follow people you call friends just because they are going somewhere. You woke up in the morning, no plan, no schedule for the day. So anybody comes around and they push their decisions or their thoughts or their ideas or their program across your path, and then you follow suit. So when you don't have an intentional lifestyle, a deliberate lifestyle, of course, the decisions of others will push you to make your own decision, which in the long run may not be to your own advantage. Then, in terms of practical action, before you act, think through. People see your action. So many times they don't care about your intention. Have you thought through before you say yes to that man or to that woman, before you concluded going to business agreement or partnership with that individual? Have you taken time to think through? Have you deliberately taking time to sit down and think through before you opt out of your employment? I want to be a businessman, I want to be an entrepreneur, but at the moment you're in your 9 to 5 or 8 to 4, as the case may be, employment. But because somebody has spoken to you, because of passion, zeal, and zest that is not well guarded with wisdom, you jump out immediately without having to think through. Before you jump into starting an employment, have you been able to think through, what do I do? How do I start? Where will be my location? How do I raise the fund? Partnership or no partnership? And all of those factors that are very important. Have you taken time to think through? Then family life is another aspect of our life that needs to be built on intentional living. You are married with children. What kind of culture do you build in your children? What kind of philosophy of life do you build your family around with? Or my father had 12 children, so I want to have 12 children. My mother, told me, you are the only child or son I have, so I want you to have 15 children. You are free to marry as many wives as possible. And today your life is wrapped up having baby mamas here and there. You have 10 children, 8 different women or mothers. Of course, that is not the best of life. Intentional individual, they have focus, they have concentration, they have goals, they have dreams, they have ambition, positive ambition, they have projection for the future. They take time to think through how they want to do something. Then they also create room for adjustments. Variabilities may come in, other factors may come in. They always make allowances that in case this won't happen, okay, I will adjust here. In case this won't happen, there's a way to make adjustments. So do you have such plans? Are you deliberate in the way you do things? Then in terms of relationship very, very important. Like somebody said, in the next 5 years, you will remain the same person you are, except for the choice of friends you make and the books you read. People you associate with determine a lot of things about your life. There is no way you will lie down with dogs and will not come up with fleas. There's no way you run around with prostitutes, with useless individuals, no people that have no ethics, no manner, no morality, and you expect the society to see you as a responsible individual. It is not possible. People you identify with, you associate with, you relate with determine a lot of shapes of your life, direction of your life, focus of your life. So be deliberate, be intentional in the choice of friends, associate, relationship you make. Even in marriage, it is not all handsome young man, wealthy young man that actually have reasonable place or the future to go. There are those that bank and celebrate the wealth of the family, but they never had plans. They never have thoughts, good thoughts about the future, how the future will be. So they are just the type of persons that run around parties, run around girls, just making going for pleasure and comfort here and there. And you ask them, what plan do you have for your future? In the next 5 years, where do you want to be? The next 10 years, what do you want to be? How do you want to achieve this? If you begin to ask too many questions from them, then they get upset. So, in terms of career to career development, you started at the lower rung of the ladder, career ladder. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Do you have plan or no arrangement to see how you build on your career, how to acquire more qualification, how to rise in the ladder of the career. So there are individuals who live a life that is so free, a life without direction. So intentional living tells you that my life is of a great value. I don't just want to run like others are running. I want to be deliberate. So intentional living tells you to be deliberate in everything you do. And it starts from the thinking, deliberate thinking before action, which culminates in your day-to-day living. And of course, your day-to-day living determines your life in the overall, in the long run. So be intentional, be deliberate in career, in relationship, in time management, in the management of money and fund or resources, physical appearance, the way you dress, the way you appear is the same way people will address you. They don't know your intention, they don't know your heart, they don't know the mind within. It is what they see in the in the public that they will use as yardstick to judge you or to measure you. So in as you go out day by day, be deliberate, be intentional. Don't miss out on the best the society or the world has for you. And don't just flow along with others without direction. Determine the choice of friends or people you associate with. Whoever has no vision shouldn't be your companion. Whoever goes nowhere shouldn't be your best partner. So today I'm challenging you, I'm encouraging you to sit down. What is your plan for today? What is your plan for this week? What is your plan for the whole month and for the whole year? I'm not just talking about New Year resolution. In this aspect, having scripted out the plans, then how will those plans come to realization? Then at every point in time, how do I measure my progress? I was speaking with my wife some few days ago. I said, we're already in the third month of the year. Here is the level of progress we have made in terms of my projection and plan for the year. There were certain things we needed to strain ourselves. We needed to make some adjustment, which was a bit expensive for us, but we needed to sit up because I was telling her, should I be told that next 1 year or 6 months you are done with this job, so you are no longer on unemployment, what alternative do we have? Now, business investment, thank God, is running, but at the same time, what if government policies, programs, run against us? So what do we do? So I need to challenge her that we just have to work on alternatives, being intentional, being deliberate. That is just the essence of what I'm saying. That in case things don't go the way we want to run it or the way we are expecting it to run, then do we have a little backup? If you are intentional in your planning, you create allowances, you create eventuality, room for eventualities. So in summary, are you intentional about your life? I spoke with a man some years ago, almost 20 years ago, during my secondary school days. He challenged me, said, "Hey, if I hear anyone that wants to sit for university entrance examination, said I would discourage him." Then it was UME, University Matriculation Examination. And I asked him why. He said, people don't pass that exam. I was much younger than him in terms of age. We were in the same class. So when I wanted to go for my own exam, I didn't tell him. So of course he got to hear after some times. He now called me, Roland, why is it that the exam, you went for this exam, you sat for it, you didn't tell me? And as a youth that I was then, much younger than this, I told him point blank that, sir, you told me if you know anybody that will go for this exam, you would discourage him. He said, yes. That was why I didn't tell you. I never wanted you to discourage me. So he was surprised. I sat for my exam. After some times, I passed. I got admission. I went to university. This same man went back to take the exam for 6 times. It took him 6 years because it was once in a year. It took him 6 years before he could pass the exam and he got admission eventually. So the point is, be intentional. Don't allow anyone to derail, dissuade, and discourage you. You are responsible for your life. Send in your comments, your observations, and your contribution. Till we meet next time, have and go for the best.